So I'm an idiot, and I hit the mute button instead of record, so if this part sounds canned, it's because it is. So I've never actually covered Jericho Green before, but he's got a video on his channel called GQ's Man of the Year is Not a Man. So that automatically tells me we're talking about somebody who's trans. So let's go ahead and take a look at his video. But first... This first one we have here is from Axolotl that has cream. Oh no! Amogus eyes! Amogus eyes are in everything now, and it's wonderful. The next one we have here is from Avalon of Babylon. Wanted to traumatize all of you before I went to bed. Edit, my PC just committed seppuku. You're all not getting anything for a while. And then the next one we have here, last one we have, is from Anubian. Said, I'm cursed. We have me superimposed over Michael Knowles. That is me moving a bunch of things because I realize I had the wrong background up the whole time. I had the one up that makes it to where it's impossible for me to use my model the way I want. There we go. Much better. Now I'm where I'm supposed to be. As always, everyone, thank you all for your fan art submissions, even the cursed ones. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop fan art into the fan art section of the Discord. With that all said, let's go ahead and get into the topic after you hit the subscribe button and the bell. That one too. Alrighty. Let's see what we've got on the docket right here.
Morning, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Make sure you get over to mygreengear.com. 15% off all green gear. And
interesting. We're starting with a plug. No plugs here. The only thing we plug here is DDLG Playground, or whoever happens to be the sponsor of the channel at the time. We actually do have another one lined up, thankfully. But right now, DDLG Playground. If you want to use anything to pleasure yourself, it's probably best to get it from there. Use coupon code Suris to get anything 10% off within their entire store. And somehow, magically, I am the only person still sponsored by DDLG Playground. I'm the last affiliate standing. And I don't know how that happened. How many butt plugs have you guys been buying? Holy crap. Anyways... let's go back to...
And I finally...
Nope.
I can't 15% off all the I'll be uploading. GQ Magazine? No.
There we go.
Did it piss me off? Yes. So, GQ Magazine, you know, every year they have GQ's Man of the Year because GQ Magazine is a men's magazine.
So who here actually knows what GQ Magazine... God fucking damn it! Darth Crystal, why? Why would you do this? What is the... what do you gain? What do you gain from this? What is wrong with you? Fine. Darth Crystal has dropped 50,001 channel points because somehow all of you have Uwu. I'm so tired. Anywho, just I don't want to do this anymore. I want to delete my entire channel now. Jesus Christ. But, you know, I've actually never heard of GQ Magazine before this point. So I don't know why I should care about this magazine having a trans person on the cover. I don't, really. But, I mean, I guess he's going to tell us why this is so important.
So much so that it's part of the American lexicon. You know, you ever heard somebody say, you look GQ smooth? Look at you looking all GQ.
I've never heard that in my entire life. Not once ever have I heard that. Anybody in chat, have y'all heard that? Maybe we're hanging around the wrong circles. Maybe we're just not the target audience for this. Does it mean genderqueer? No, it gentleman's quarter, maybe? I don't know. I've never heard GQ smooth. I feel like this is just a him thing.
GQ means you're talking to a man, number one, and you look good because GQ magazine is a men's fashion magazine. There's high-end clothing in there and shit. You're looking GQ.
Okay.
But that's not what it means anymore, because as recently as last year, they erased the criteria of being a man to get Man of the Year. Now it's...
Did they do that? Really? Like, I have a question, truly and honestly. How does this affect you? How does this actually affect you? Because from my perspective, I don't see this affecting you at all. Like, if a magazine just decides, hey, we're changing our criteria for Man of the Year, what happens? What actually changes in your day-to-day life? How does this affect you? I don't see it affecting you at all. I see you just getting angry and upset about it, which probably just drives magazine sales for them. If I were to take a guess here, we probably have a magazine that has decided to change its criteria so as to include trans people as potential winners for this award. And if they're including trans people as potential winners, first of all, those are either non-binary people or they are men. They're just trans men, which, again, that is just men. I'm sorry. I have seen what HRT does to a body, my guy. It just makes you a guy. Like, it changes everything about your bodily structure, so that if you see a trans man who's been on HRT for 2 years, with or without surgery, you're probably never going to accidentally misgender them as a woman after that point. But anywho, my guess is they decided to be more trans inclusive. Len Jedi or Ian Jedi, one of the two. Thank you for the follow. My guess is that they decided to be more trans inclusive, maybe even just as a marketing gimmick, right? Their magazine sales might have been going down because magazine sales everywhere have been going down. Magazines, comics, the paper print medium in general is not in a good state. So if I were to take the guess that the marketing team decided, hey, let's expand our audience a little bit, let's go ahead and make a little bit off the LGBTQ dollar, this is purely a corporate decision. It means nothing ideologically except here's how we make money. And oh, by the way, expanding into those markets just so happens to drum up a lot of controversy with their current market, which can raise sales even more, because I hadn't heard about the magazine until you bitched about them. Just imagine that.
It's open to everybody. So why call it a Man of the Year award if you don't have to be a man to get the fucking award?
He's so mad about this. Have you ever asked yourself why gender critical people get mad about trans people? Have you ever asked yourself why they get so upset?
Now, we've seen this before. We saw Bruce Jenner win. What the fuck? Guys, where are we? What world are we in?
The world that we've been in the entire time. You just refuse to progress with it. Like,
how do we get out of the Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole? Somebody who hasn't gone down the rabbit hole yet.
Oh yeah, we do have dead naming. Let's go back to that real quick.
Now, we've seen this before. We saw Bruce Jenner win.
Yeah. Instead of, like, I don't like Caitlyn Jenner. I think Caitlyn Jenner's a political piece of garbo. But I'm still going to use her pronouns. I'm still going to use her name. I don't see any reason to disrespect the person in that regard. At least, not yet. It's like envy, gender envy. I don't know.
Remember when Bruce Jenner...
How many times do you have to keep on saying the name? Like, do you guys notice that? He's putting the emphasis on it. He's not just dead naming. He's putting straight emphasis on it every single time. He wants people to hear that he's dead naming. He needs people to hear he's dead naming. Do you know what this is called, by the way? Do you know what this right here is called? It's a virtue signal. I hate to be the person to drag us all back to 2016 anti-SJW YouTube, but this is a virtue signal from a conservative snowflake. It's from someone who desperately needs his audience to go, ah, yes, thank you for preaching out against the woke crowd. We need it. Jesus.
won Woman of the Year, and he got a bravery award over somebody who had their legs blown off in a war.
Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. A bravery award. One, why do we give a shit about these awards? Why do we care about them? Why do they matter? Secondly, can I ask you a thing? A person gets their legs blown off. Does that necessarily make them brave? No, not really. You don't have to be brave to go into the armed forces. You don't have to be brave to be a police officer. Now, there are aspects of those jobs that will require bravery for you to execute, but merely having them doesn't require it. And getting injured on the job anywhere does not automatically make you brave either. You can be a coward and have your legs blown off. I know nothing about the person who had their legs blown off. So the criteria for bravery, I don't know if they're actually hitting. Secondly, Caitlyn Jenner, again, piece of garbo human being, but can we talk about the fact that being publicly trans in the United States, especially when Caitlyn publicly transitioned, that was not the norm back then. I mean, it's still not the norm now. It causes a fuck ton of hatred to be aimed at you. How much hatred do you think is aimed at a person in the United States military who's inside the walls of the United States right now? Truly and honestly, I don't think there's a whole lot, but how much hatred is aimed at people who are trans every day in the United States? Quite a fucking bit. I mean, there's a reason we have the meme braver than the troops. I don't necessarily agree with the meme because, like I said, there are aspects of being in law enforcement or aspects of being in the military that do require you to be incredibly brave, and in some cases, braver than someone who is transitioning. But every situation is different. So I don't find every trans person to be brave, and I don't find every person in the military to be brave. But what I will say is somebody who is trans publicly, working in politics, there is a level of bravery to that because there are people who are going to be gunning for you for years. Constantly. So people have their legs blown off just playing as kids in countries because of all the leftover landmines. Yep, again, like having your legs blown off, not a criteria for bravery. That person could be very brave, but losing their legs is not the thing that I think makes somebody brave. I'm sorry. So GQ Mag didn't care until they heard a trans man won. Women's sports didn't care until a trans woman started winning. It's bullshit. Yeah, it's amazing how, like, all of this shit, like, it becomes more important as soon as trans people get involved. These places, these people should just be thanking trans people at this point because, really, they're driving their sales.
So let's see. Let's check our bravery meter. You step on an IED in a war zone, or you tell everybody that you want to be a woman and you're a millionaire in California.
So the location doesn't matter too much there because California is not a liberal stronghold. California, depending on where you are there, is incredibly red. I'm sorry. It's only really the cities that make you there. Being a millionaire, I can completely understand that being a criteria that makes it a little less brave for you. You can hire armed security where you go. I can get that one a little more. But publicly being trans and being involved in politics, there is a level of bravery required for that. You could say it's minimal. I'd say it's stupid, given that she's fighting very, very often for the conservative side of things. But I will only grant the being rich as a factor there. Everything else, I don't see as a factor. And again, we've already established just losing your legs in a war zone, this does not automatically make you brave. I don't know the criteria that you underwent in order for that to happen. I don't.
One of those, the bravery meter, is buried, red line. The other one, not so much.
I'd say you can't really accurately track the bravery meter on either, given the variables that are involved.
But guess who got the award?
Caitlyn. Who cares?
So now it's Man of the Year, and there's multiple women on the Man of the Year list.
Oh? Are they women or are they trans men?
The one that they were highlighting, it was a woman named Emma D'Arcy.
Emma D'Arcy. Let's take a look here. Emma D'Arcy, they're non-binary. Like I thought. I literally said these are either trans men or they're non-binary. They're non-binary. So, why does it matter? Why does any of this matter is the question. Like, why is any of this important? Do they think that society is just going to erode out under because we have criteria for magazines that shifts every now and again?
She's an actress from some dragon shit show. I don't watch that bullshit. But she's an actress on the show, but of course, she's non-binary.
They're an actor on the show. They're non-binary. I'm going to assume pronouns are they, them. Come on, it's very easy to just use that. Like, they's already gender neutral. It's super easy to just default to it.
Again, the psychosis of non-binary. How are you non-binary, but you always look like a man? Or really a boy. Ain't no woman looking like a man. You look like a boy.
Okay, so there are very feminine-looking men who are in their 30s, just like this person. But, the important thing to note here is he recognizes that they're non-binary. He knows that as he goes into this. And he says, how are you non-binary, but you look this way? I don't understand. Guys, I'm sorry, but when I see this image, I don't think male or female. I literally think somewhere in between. I think of someone in between. Like, yeah, NBs don't owe people androgyny, but this is very androgynous. At least to me. Maybe I'm incorrect, but they look androgynous to me.
You're like a pre-pubescent boy.
Who cares?
But you're supposed to be non-binary. Explain that shit to me.
Easy. Non-binary is about your identity. How you look is about your genetics and your makeup and your outfit. You identify one way, but you could dress and look a very different way. That's normal. Just like we could shave off your mustache and your beard, we could add some lipstick onto you, and you might make a pretty convincing girl. But you'd still identify as a guy. Do you think your masculinity would be ripped away at that point?
You can't be non-binary.
Yeah, you can.
But you look like one of the binaries.
You can look like any fucking thing you want and still identify any other way. That's how human beings operate. I am a cis guy. I have, I have the junk of a dude. I have the mind of a dude. I have the look of a dude. I sound like a dude. I think I act like a dude, though Raz thinks that I act more feminine, but, either way, I'm a dude. I use a female avatar due to channel lore reasons. Where on the binary am I supposed to sit? Are you confused, or can you just accept the fact that this is a fun joke for me that I get to perform with this avatar all the time, and I'm a cis guy? Andy Pretzel said, couldn't tell you what the person's gender at birth was. Leans a bit more feminine, but I'm also face blind at times. The guys we're talking about just seems butthurt that things are progressing socially. Yep. So, again, people can present however they want, but their identity can lie anywhere elsewhere. It doesn't matter. A guy can dress in drag and look like a very convincing woman and still be a guy. A girl can put on a binder and walk around looking like a grease monkey. And they just look like, they are a traditionally masculine person in the chop shop. But they're still a girl. What matters more is how they identify, not how they look at any given moment.
So she's non-binary, short hair, looks like a 12-year-old little boy.
Uh-huh.
And she got Man of the Year.
They
got Man of the Year.
Yeah.
How the fuck is that?
Because they expanded their criteria to include non-binary people. and they're non-binary, so they fit the criteria. That's how.
You have no idea. So what? You cut your hair. So you cut your hair, you go to the junior section at JCPenney and get some boy shit.
Yeah.
Maybe some tattoos or something on your forearm.
Okay.
And now you're a man? You think so?
I mean, those aren't the things that make somebody a guy, but sure. They probably already felt non-binary before any of that shit. I don't see the issue here. I don't see the problem.
How many fights you been in?
Does that matter? Do you need to be in fights to be a guy? Is that one of the things you have to have? Do you have to be violent to be a dude? I've never heard that before. That's interesting.
Huh? You know what it's like to be a man? Do you know what it's like to be at the bottom of the list? And again, I want to preface this by saying I don't have a problem with being a man.
Okay.
I don't mind jumping in front of the bullet. I don't mind letting the women and children out first.
Who cares?
The real men and women out first.
The real men? Oh my god. Who cares about any of those things?
I don't care.
Okay.
I know my place in society. I know I'm the guard dog. I know I'm the watchdog. I'm the workhorse. I'm the pack mule, and any other animal analogies we can throw in there.
Why do you have to accept that? You can say you're okay with that, and I'm perfectly okay that you're okay with that, but, like, why do you need to accept that? From my perspective, you don't have to accept any of those gender stereotypes. Those are things that you chose to accept, but you don't have to do that. I don't accept any of those gender stereotypes. If somebody says, hey, ladies go first, I can just be like, ladies nuts on your face. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about that. I don't give a shit if somebody says you should take the bullet for them. Like, no, I don't have to take a bullet. Bullets hurt. I don't need to do any of that. If I can't lift something, if I can't open a jar of pickles, I'm not going to go do weights until I can. I'm just going to accept that that's a limit of mine. And if I want to change that, that's a thing I can change at some point, but I don't have to do it to affirm my masculinity. Princess Morningstar, thank you for redeeming your points for an... You fucking degen. Thank you for the stretch, Andy Pretzel. Yeah, he does seem a little insecure in his masculinity. He's got this, like, laundry list of things. I'll get into fights. I'll take the bullet. I'm the guard dog. Yeah, sure, you are all of those things. Why, though? Are you happy about that, or do you just accept it? Because if you just accept it, you don't have to. You really don't.
I don't care. You know why? Because I'm built for this. I've been living toward this goal my whole life.
Okay.
Being a young man, being on the playground, getting in fights, doing dangerous shit with your friends.
Who cares? Again, Sweet Melody MC, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. You know, I don't see why that matters. Oh no, you did dangerous stuff as a kid. Okay, cool. Neat. You were a happy kid or a stupid kid. I don't know which.
Playing contact sports.
Yeah?
You don't just wake up one day and decide to be a man.
You can.
Or decide to dress like one.
And? People can do that.
Try to turn your clitoris into some tiny little Vienna sausage dick.
Hey, people with small dicks are based still. I don't see why that has to that has to matter. But also, who cares? Like, why are you so concerned about other people's genitalia now? Are you going down on several trans men? Do you need to comment on their dicks that badly?
You don't just wake up one day and decide this. I don't wake.
Are you sure that somebody woke up one day and decided that? Have you ever talked to a trans person and figured out, like, why they feel the way they do, why they believe the things they do?
Wake up one day, buy a white coat, and walk into the cardiology department of a hospital and say, I'm here to cut people open. You got to train for that. You got to study for that.
Right. Have you heard of HRT? That's literally just training to be a dude. Have you heard of that? People take HRT. People do voice lessons to get a particular voice that sounds different than a more traditionally feminine one. People literally do train to be more masculine sometimes when they're trans. They don't have to. Nobody owes you that. But people do.
You're not ready to be no fucking man?
Who cares?
You want to go hop on an oil rig in the middle of the ocean?
I don't want to do that, and I'm a guy. Why should I do that?
You want to go down in that mine? You want to go to that war zone? You want to be out on the street at 6 a.m. picking up fucking garbage?
You know that there are women who take those jobs as well, right? 1 second.
You don't want to be no damn man.
Who cares?
All you think a man is mansplaining. You think we sit with our legs open like this and we talk down to women. That's what you think being a man is. You think being a man is making more money per hour. Yeah, because we do more dangerous shit, we put in more hours. It's not.
So wait a minute. So you're saying that you don't want to do this dangerous shit that will earn you more money, but we get more money. You don't want to do that. Wait, hold on. You're literally doing the thing you're saying that is not just a man thing to do. You're talking down to someone right now. You view this person as a woman, and you're talking down to them as we're speaking.
Because just because you got a dick between your legs, you get more money. That dick's not worth more an hour. But you believe it is, which is fucking stupid.
Nobody believes that. Nobody believes that just being a man means that you get paid more than a woman. It's about systemic trends, right? It's about the amount of men that are getting paid a certain amount versus the amount of women that are getting paid a certain amount. So the last time I checked, and correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but the whole, like, women get paid 73 cents for every dollar a man makes, the math on that is very, very wrong, right? I can agree with that. The math on that is incorrect. You have to account for those more dangerous jobs. You have to account for the types of jobs that men get slotted into more often than women. However, once you account for that, you still end up with men making, what, like a tenth or so more? Like, there's an actual, on the Wikipedia page for it, there was an actual breakdown showing that, like, when you accounted for all of the arguments that men try to pose for, like, this is why we make more money, when you account for all of those things, you still don't come up with an even 50-50 split between the amount of money that men make and the amount of money that women make. You don't really still get a 50-50 split. A lot of times, women will not get offered as much for Hollywood blockbuster movies. A lot of times, they'll get screwed over in contracts more often. A lot of times, store managers for Walmarts and fast food joints will get paid less if they are female, or their raises will come much more slowly. When I was working at Hardee's, I actually had this explained to me by my store manager. This is back when I didn't believe any of this shit, when I didn't believe that there actually was a gender pay gap. My store manager sat down and was like, okay, so here's the thing. I get paid this much, and the other general managers get paid this much. I've been doing the job for half as them. They make $5,000 a year more than I do, and our stores perform the same. Like, shit like that. Evidence was literally thrown at me, anecdotal as it was, that the reality is that, yes, there are some situations where circumstantially women just will get paid less, and it happens enough to account for that 5 to 10%-ish drop between the two genders that we generally talk about in this conversation. Of course, non-binary people gum all of this data up, but that's not really important here. The important thing here is that evidentially you are incorrect, but people don't think, as far as I know, most people don't think that, oh, you walked into a room with a penis, that means you got paid more. Like, no, there's usually a lot of stuff that goes into that. You put one guy and one girl next to each other in the same job, have them work the exact same amount of time, and have them move up the corporate ladder at the same rate, they may or may not end up in different pay rates. But that anecdote is a small thing compared to the wealth of data between various fields showing that a lot of times men do just get paid more. All things considered. But data isn't super important to someone like this. Ideology is.
Because if men really made more than women per hour, then how come it's not an all-female workforce? You think these business owners aren't in the business of making money?
Again, the actual counter argument you're using here doesn't work. The counter argument you're using here only works in the world where women naturally get paid lower, where there's a legal lower pay for them. I actually have an anecdote for this. Goodwill was known for hiring lots and lots of disabled workers. And it was one of the things that Goodwill was praised for. They had a lot of disabled workers on their staff. It was very, very nice to see an employer that was doing that for their workers. But the reality of the situation with Goodwill was that a lot of times they were just paying their workers less if they were disabled. They were utilizing legal loopholes to pay disabled workers less than more able-bodied workers. Now, you can make arguments about that being because the other workers were more able-bodied, but you've already had that exact argument posed by you when you pointed out the more able-bodied nature of men versus women, at least in your description. So we saw what has actually happened. You're right. When you can legally pay someone less, more of those people will be employed by companies if they can help it because they can pay less per hour. So what you're saying would be right in a reality where there was a legal clause just like there was for disabled people that could let women be paid less merely for being women. But there's a lot more that goes into it than just that.
But women are getting GQ Man of the fucking Year?
Non-binary people, not women. Difference.
Fuck out of here. Okay. Non-binary Emma DRC. What happened?
Why does the name matter? Did you know Chris is equally as female as it is a male name? There's a shit ton of female Chris's, and yet Chris is my name and I'm a guy.
What happens when you're out with your girlfriend? Huh? You holding hands with your boo. You're all dressed up, got your little buzz haircut and shit. You're wearing your men's trousers and whatnot, doing your best to walk like this and be tough. Huh? Whatever you think being a man is.
Why does any of that matter?
So what happens if a guy walks by and he makes a remark about your girl or grabs her ass or, her titty or something?
So, for one, why would some guy randomly do that? I've been out a lot and in the middle of the city. I live near Atlanta, for fuck's sake. I've been to multiple cities in this year because I've been traveling a lot, doing the convention circuit for the gaming side of my YouTube stuff. And I don't actually see that shit happen a lot, despite being in any of these areas. It's like, what was it? That one song from Lil Dicky, where he's talking with Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg's like, "What do you do when a couple of guys come up to you in the club?" And Lil Dicky's just like, I ain't trying to do shit. Look, I'm just telling you that I'm going to target a different demographic than you. Like, I'm sorry, most people don't actually do that shit. In the event that it happened, sure, why not start a fight with them if you desperately feel you need to? Or just, leave. Don't give rapists what they want. Don't give sexual harassers what they want. Say, versus I've seen people do that when I worked in nightclubs. Working in nightclubs, I guess that does make sense. That's a different environment than just, walking out on the street. That's a thing that doesn't happen as much in public. But I have a question. What are you supposed to do in that situation? Are you supposed to get yourself sent to jail by starting a fight? What are you going to tell the officer? Hey, they touched my girl. Okay, cool. Did you fight in self-defense? Were they leaving? Were they walking away? No? Okay, cool. Well, then I guess you're spending a night in the jailhouse. Like, at the end of the day, this feels like you've got this mask of what a guy is supposed to do, this tough, macho, chivalrous guy. And then if you fail to live up to that somehow, you seem to get incredibly upset. I wonder, did something happen in your past? Did something happen when you were growing up that made you feel so emasculated that you swore that you would never have that feeling ever again? And so, like Infinite in Sonic Forces, you created a cringy-ass persona for yourself to hide behind. And yeah, you might have bitchin' theme music, but we're all just kind of laughing at you at this point. Let's see if there's anything else in here that matters. I feel like by the time I get to the Sonic the Hedgehog references, we've basically peaked where comedy's concerned.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Emma? Emma, I'm guessing you're what? 5'5", maybe? 110 pounds? She looks very petite. What are you gonna do?
There's petite guys. Did you know that? Did you know there are guys who are 5'5" at 110 pounds? Are you saying that you're going to touch their, partner? Are you going to do that?
You gonna check that dude? You gonna say, hey, what the fuck, man? What are you gonna do?
A taser is a wonderful equalizer in these situations. Hey, what the fuck, man? What are you gonna do about it? Oh, wow, holy shit, you almost bit your tongue off. That was hilarious. My God. Look at you. How many volts of electricity did we course through your veins there? Said also, there are schools of martial arts specifically for small people. Yep. There are plenty of ways to handle this. Did you know when people are particularly large, if they're caught unawares, their center of gravity is not properly grounded? You can actually lift them pretty easily and fling them over your shoulder. It's not a very difficult thing to do if they're not expecting you to do that. And most people aren't expecting you to do a fucking judo flip to somebody just out in the open. Said Ben Shapiro's doctor wife? I hope not. Yeah, I have a question. With how tiny Ben Shapiro is, do you think he has this exact same thoughts about Ben? Do you ever think that? I'm sorry I came here from playing DRG.
You're a man now. Get out there. She's going to be hiding behind you. She's going to be telling you, no, babe, come on, stop. Don't do it. It's not worth it. She's going to be telling you that because you got to get your man ass out there and do something.
You don't have to, though. See, that's the thing. Society tells us we have to respond violently in those situations, but we don't have to. There's no prompt telling us that we must. There's no prompt telling us we have to. And, of course, it's not even a man. They're NB. They're non-binary. But none of that's super important. The point is, even if we were to just take man on face value there, even if we were to, misgender them twice, we go the one step further. This is to misgender even one step further beyond. If we were to actually do that and engage that way, we still have to ask ourselves, why do we feel the need as guys to be violent? Why do we feel the need, and why are we told that we should be violent? Why do we need that? Why is that not a stupid, barbaric part of our society that needs to be just dropped off at school and beaten up by the school bully over there? If you have to respond violently to these situations as opposed to, talking them out or shit like that, that's a bit of a you problem, isn't it? So I guess it's a primal thing, but we're not primal anymore. We live in a somewhat civilized society. We don't need to do any of this shit. There's no point to any of it. And like, oh God, girls will sleep with you more if you act more like a stupid ape. I'm not gonna activate my chimp brain. I don't need to activate my chimp brain. My chimp brain can stay locked off in evolutionary recess. I don't need to return to monkey. I have no need to do it. Said except girls don't like that kind of dude. Half the time I don't even know what girls like. I don't. And that's coming from somebody who has a partner right now and has had multiple partners in the past. And hell, if I have multiple partners right now, this is none of your business, has it? Said return to monkey or evolve to crab. Yeah, no, just evolve to crab. That's as far as we're going to get into there, I think. I don't see much reason to continue there. We're just going down the hyper-misogynistic, toxic masculinity route at this point. We're misogynistic against somebody because he believes they're a woman, so he is down-talking them. He is being an asshole in that way. And, of course, the toxic masculinity being that he is trying to label all of these different traits as masculine traits. These are the things that men have to do, after all. And I'm just not here for it. It feels like something that somebody who has been harmed has to rely on. And I just don't get it. When we look at the comment sections, we see it's wonderful to hear a real man speak the truth. It all gets more and more crazy every day, doesn't it? If you took a time machine back to the 50s and started telling people what's wrong in 2022, they'd either life you out of the room or have you put in an insane asylum. Fix it, Jesus. You know, we had Jim Crow back then. We had Jim Crow. I think there are certain people who probably shouldn't use that time machine for their own safety. Just saying. Things in the 50s were not all that great, everyone. Things were not all that great just because they happened to be in the past. But what about you? What do you think? Do you want to fix it, Jesus? Or do you have other opinions on what's going on in the world? Things we should be fixing? Things we should be paying attention to work on? Do you think Jericho's arguments were sound, or do you think dunking on him was more apt? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your opinions. But until we are there, until you're done typing out everything, hit the like button. Maybe even subscribe to the channel. You're already scrolling down there to tell me I'm a fustercluck of basket case emotions anyway. So why not go ahead and click those buttons? Help me out while I give you a punching bag on the internet. Whether that's me or Jericho, that's up to you to decide. But as always, everyone, insert end of video tagline here.